Put on some power armor and grab a Geiger counter because Fallout Season 2 is bringing us back to the Wasteland.
Okie dokie.
Just beware, Season 1 spoilers are lurking ahead. In 2024, Amazon's Fallout series introduced the world to Lucy McLean, Maximus, and the Ghoul, three characters whose stories intersect in the ruins of the American Southwest. The show became a massive hit and was quickly renewed for Season 2, but as you probably know, the story doesn't start there. For nearly 30 years, Fallout has been a video game franchise beloved by players around the world. The series debuted with Interplay Productions' Fallout in 1997, which got a sequel the following year, but Bethesda Softworks gave it a second life after purchasing the rights for it in 2007. Bethesda released Fallout 3 in 2008, Fallout 4 in 2015, and Fallout 76 in 2018. If you're a Fallout fan, you probably noticed that we didn't mention what's probably the most beloved game in the entire franchise. After Fallout 3, Bethesda contracted Obsidian Entertainment to make 2010's Fallout New Vegas, which features some of the most iconic characters and locations found in any Fallout title.
Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
When the ending of Fallout Season 1 teased a return to the New Vegas Strip, hype for Season 2 ballooned to nuclear proportions. Thankfully, the wait isn't as long as fans of the games have come to expect. The show's next chapter debuts on Amazon Prime Video on December 17, 2025, just over a year and a half after the first one dropped. There's a lot going on in Fallout, and it's easy to forget some of the strange and wacky details that make the franchise so special. If you don't feel like rewatching Season 1 or dealing with New Vegas constantly crashing, here's what you need to know before revisiting the Wasteland. The history of the world in the Fallout universe looks a lot like our own until the mid-20th century. After World War II, rapid technological advancements massively changed American life. Instead of making computers as small and convenient as possible, scientists focused on raw power and the seemingly limitless possibilities of nuclear energy. Suddenly, everything from robot butlers to energy weapons were commonplace. This had massive consequences on American culture. In Fallout's America, the 50s never really ended. Instead, the pop culture and politics of the time simply evolved into new, more frightening forms. The Cold War, which in real life came to a close in 1991 when the Soviet Union dissolved, was much longer in the Fallout universe. Capitalizing on anti-communist hysteria, a company called Vault-Tec found a profitable niche and earned an exclusive contract with the US government. They built 122 underground vaults around America and charged frightened citizens premium prices to reserve spots inside them in the event of a nuclear strike.
Strong enough to keep out the rads and the reds.
Sure enough, the bombs fell on October 23, 2077, amid tensions with China. So the world got set on fire and the lucky few were ushered into the vaults. But what awaited them inside wasn't always an idyllic paradise. The vast majority of the vaults, all but 17, functioned as unethical social experiments designed by some of America's most twisted business people. But they weren't willing to invest in Vault-Tec's absurdly expensive bunkers unless they could guarantee that people will be stuck inside them. So it's revealed at the end of Fallout Season 1 that it wasn't China that nuked America, it was Vault-Tec. The murder of billions was nothing more than a business decision.
Because when we are the only ones left, there will be no one to fight. A true monopoly.
As Vault Dwellers were subjected to everything from forced drug trials to bizarre new forms of governance, the vast majority of living beings on the surface were either immediately vaporized or irradiated beyond recovery. Wild animals mutated into monstrous beasts, while some humans were transformed into zombie-like ghouls. While feral ghouls are mindless flesh eaters, luckier ghouls maintain their consciousness and even gain longer lifespans and radiation immunity. The only downside is that their bodies don't stop decomposing. Veteran-turned-actor Cooper Howard turned into one of these more fortunate ghouls during the Great War, and he became so infamous as a bounty hunter that people started calling him the Ghoul.
I do this for the love of the game.
25 years after the Great War, the control vault started to open, but as it turns out, Vault-Tec failed in its goal to become a true monopoly on humanity. Other survivors that managed to avoid the fallout lived to build up factions like the Brotherhood of Steel. Society began to rebuild as time went by, but the new world was full of violent raiders and terrifying creatures like Deathclaws. Nevertheless, settlements were formed in the ruins of Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Las Vegas, Boston, and other cities. While most Wastelanders throughout the series are barely getting by, the post-apocalypse is full of power struggles for the fate of humanity's future. That's the way it goes for more than 200 years. Some vaults like Lucy McLean's home of Vault 33 are able to stay functional for that entire duration. But it's only a matter of time before catastrophe strikes. It always does. There are lots of smaller local factions in Fallout, but none of them have the reach and longevity of the Brotherhood of Steel. They've appeared in every game in the series and play a massive role in the TV show. But what do they actually do?
The Brotherhood is the good guys?
It's a complicated organization.
Elder Roger Maxson founded the Brotherhood just days before the start of the Great War, breaking off from the United States when he learned that scientists at the Vault-Tec Corporation were doing human experimentation with a mutagen called the Forced Evolutionary Virus. Remaining true to Maxson's vision, the Brotherhood's main aim has long been to prevent powerful pre-war technology from falling into the wrong hands, or taking out any ghouls or other mutants that might be found along the way. They have a medieval theme, with their warriors being called knights and the knights' assistants being called squires. The Brotherhood plays a massive role in the Fallout show, particularly as the faction that Maximus belongs to. He was rescued and raised by the Brotherhood after his family and home were wiped out after a nuclear strike on the city of Shady Sands. Along with other aspirants like Thaddeus and Dane, he hopes to one day make a name for himself by fighting for his brothers. That brings us to 2296, the year the main story of the Fallout TV show takes place. Vault 33 is still going strong, run by overseer Hank McClane. His daughter Lucy is set to be married off to a man from the neighboring Vault 32, but things turn sour incredibly fast when he and his cohort are revealed to be raiders that force their way into the vault from the outside. Their leader, Moldava, takes Hank with them as a hostage.
Where are you taking him?
To the real world. You should see it sometime.
And so, the peppy and naive Lucy leaves her home and brother Norm behind to find her dad. Meanwhile, Maximus is promoted to Squire by the Brotherhood of Steel after a razor blade in a boot puts Dane, the original candidate, out of commission. He's assigned to Knight Titus, and the two are sent to capture one Dr. Siggy Wilczek. He's a scientist from the Enclave, the last remnant of the US government, with an important device in his possession. Finally, the Ghoul is dug up from a living grave and offered a chance to help hunt down said scientist for the bounty on his head. Instead, Cooper kills the men who exhumed him and goes on his merry way to track the target himself. Of course, this puts him on a collision course with Maximus, and sure enough, Lucy also joins the mix.
Okie dokie.
Lucy is the first to encounter Dr. Wilczek, who's traveling with his German shepherd. She doesn't know about the bounty on his head, nor does she have the means to stop him, so she moves on in the direction of a settlement called Philly. Meanwhile, Titus and Maximus are attacked by a mutated bear called a Yao Guai. It doesn't go well for the cowardly knight, who insults Maximus so hard that the squire refuses to heal him.
It is a knight's duty to better this fallen world. You don't deserve that armor.
With Titus killed, Maximus is supposed to contact the Brotherhood, but instead, he decides to give his knight's power armor a try. It turns out that wearing a deadly mech suit is a total blast, so he goes ahead and keeps it on for a while. Lucy and Dr. Wilczek meet again in Philly, but Cooper is there too with money on his mind. Maximus arrives at the perfect time, kicking off a battle that the bounty hunter wins with flair. Wilczek escapes with Lucy's help, minus his dog and one of his feet. When his injuries get too much for him, he takes a cyanide pill. But before he dies, he gives the Vault Dweller an important quest.
You can change the future if you can bring me to Moldava.
That important piece of technology everyone's after is implanted in Dr. Wilczek's head. Lucy reluctantly decapitates his corpse and sets off to find the mysterious Moldava, but Cooper is close behind, healing Dr. Wilczek's dog and using it to track down its former owner. Lucy has her first encounter with the Wasteland's local fauna when she's attacked by an amphibious mutant called a Gulper. True to its name, it swallows Wilzig's head, but thankfully she had the foresight to put a tracker up in its nose. She doesn't have the foresight to watch her back though, so Cooper gets to jump on her and holds her at gunpoint. While using her as bait for the Gulper fails, his chems get shattered in the struggle, and without them, he could go feral. So Cooper leaves the bounty in search of more, and he takes Lucy with him. Meanwhile, Maximus commits to the bit and pretends to be Titus, telling the Brotherhood that the Squire was the one killed in action instead. So they send in a new Squire, Thaddeus, who has a history of giving Maximus a hard time. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's smart enough to realize that the radiation that the Ghoul emits can be tracked, leading them directly to the head.
Yes, right. I know that.
They soon find the head, and with it, the Gulper. It has Thaddeus halfway down its throat, but Maximus manages to pull him out along with everything else in the Gulper's stomach, killing it in the process. Sure enough, they're able to recover Wilzig's head and the device within, and as Elder Quintus told Thaddeus, whoever controls the device controls the Wasteland. Speaking of water, Lucy needs some real bad, but Cooper would rather teach her some harsh lessons than give her any. He makes her drink the irradiated stuff, and when she retaliates by biting his finger off, he responds in kind by doing the same with one of hers.
Now that right there is the closest thing we've had to an honest exchange so far.
Cooper leads Lucy to what remains of a supermarket and trades her to a local gang for some more life-saving chems, but he passes out before they can be delivered. Inside, Lucy lets her guard down after a Mr. Handy robot gives her a new finger, but fights back after she learns what's coming.
I'm simply going to harvest your organs.
Lucy fights her way out of the organ harvester's lair, making her escape after learning firsthand why it's so important for ghouls to stay on top of their medication. Even though she's forced to kill for the first time in order to make it out of the supermarket alive, she's still her kind and generous self. So she leaves Cooper a few vials of the good stuff on her way out.
I may end up looking like you. I'll never be like you.
Somewhere nearby, Maximus and Thaddeus celebrate their victory, and in a moment of vulnerability, Maximus decides to reveal who he really is. Thaddeus doesn't take it well and runs off with the head, the dog, and the power armor's fusion core. Without that last one, the power armor becomes Maximus's prison. Most people in the Wasteland wouldn't hesitate to kill if they came across what appeared to be an incapacitated Brotherhood knight. So Maximus is incredibly lucky that Lucy is the one to find him. Even though she has newfound trust issues, she chooses to let him out, but he still lies to her by introducing himself as Knight Titus. They make a deal. If Lucy travels with Maximus and uses her Pip-Boy to track the head, then Maximus will get some Brotherhood firepower to help rescue Hank. At least he says he will, but it's not like they'd actually listen to him. A tense confrontation with strangers on a bridge ends in a gunfight, but they make it out alive with a bullet in Maximus's shoulder to show for it.
It's just a scratch. Happens all the time.
Lucy has a bit of an existential crisis when she and Maximus get to Shady Sands, the first capital of the once great New California Republic and the childhood home of Maximus, or more accurately, the crater where Shady Sands used to be before it was bombed into oblivion. But they keep moving until they find a Vault-Tec medical center, and when they enter in search of medical supplies for Maximus's bullet wound, they fall into trap doors leading to a familiar place below.
We're in a vault.
Before we dive into a new vault, let's check up with the old one. Back in Vault 33, Norm has a sneaking suspicion that things underground aren't quite what they seem. Lucy's cynical brother also opposes the new plan to try and rehabilitate the raiders that weren't killed during the wedding massacre.
So what do you propose we do?
We can do what they would have done to us.
Wow. Jeez Louise, Norm.
Another wrinkle, the Vault's water chip was destroyed in the attack, meaning that they only have 2 months before they run out of clean water. So Norm does some snooping. He and his cousin Chet sneak into Vault 32 and learn that the raiders didn't kill the Vault Dwellers. The Vault Dwellers killed each other, and several years prior for that matter. But the most shocking reveal of all, the Pip-Boy device that gave the raiders access to the vault belonged to Rose McLean, Lucy and Norm's mother, whom they presumed to be dead. After the election for a new overseer ends with winning candidate Betty Pearson getting 98% of the vote, Norm digs some more. He learns that every single overseer ever elected in Vaults 32 and 33 once lived in Vault 31, including Betty and Father Dearest, of course.
When things look glum, vote 31.
It's a powerful slogan.
You think 200 years of coincidence comes down to a slogan?
You might as well be asking why everyone prefers Jell-O cake to apple pie.
When Betty invites the Vault Dwellers to explore the mysteriously renovated halls of Vault 32 and announces a resettlement campaign to fill the empty shelter, Norm and Chet get even more suspicious. Things get even stranger when the captive raiders are mysteriously poisoned to death. Chet is one of the dwellers selected for relocation, meaning that Norm has to finish this one on his own. He breaks into the Overseer's computer once again and converses directly with the Overseer of Vault 31, who requests an immediate meeting with who he thinks is Betty. What Norm finds is truly shocking, but we'll get to that in a bit. Lucy and Maximus get patched up in Vault 4, a community originally governed entirely by scientists that opened up to house service folk some time ago. Lucy is happy to be in a familiar environment, but quickly gets suspicious about the Vault Dwellers and their suspicious mutations. Maximus thinks that the Vault Dwellers are cult members from the very beginning, until he discovers the magic of junk food and television, that is. Despite the warnings of Vault 4's Cyclops Overseer, Lucy goes to check out the mysterious Level 12. Sure enough, she discovers that the Vault's original population did experiments on human test subjects, inventing the Gulper in the process. Turns out that Maximus was right on the money about the cult thing. They worship Moldava, calling her the Flame Mother. Still, Maximus needs to be reconvinced after getting a bit too comfy.
They gave me a robe.
I know.
And slippers.
Lucy gets caught and punished with banishment, so exactly what she wanted anyway. She also learns that the mutated dwellers aren't the descendants of the scientists that originally governed the vault, but rather those of the hybrid creatures they created that rebelled against them. Their strange customs are enough to change Maximus's mind yet again, so he gets back on the road with Lucy. She offers him a place in Vault 33, but he feels guilty about lying to her and reveals his true identity. Thanks in part to her sheltered upbringing, pun intended, Lucy is a bit more forgiving than Thaddeus was. Speaking of Thaddeus, he's busy trekking through the Wasteland in search of a radio to contact the Brotherhood with. His body doesn't handle the journey well, especially since his foot bones were crushed when Maximus stepped on him during their struggle. He's so desperate for relief that he trades Maximus's fusion core for a supposed cure-all serum from an eccentric stranger, who tells him that he can find a radio tower near the ruins of Shady Sands.
Shady Sands? This is radioactive as hell.
You don't have to worry about that anymore, do you, buddy boy? Toodles.
Thaddeus makes it to the tower and calls the Brotherhood, only for Lucy and Maximus to follow the head tracker straight to his location. When Thaddeus is shot in the neck with an arrow, the squire gets an inkling of what might have been in that strange concoction.
I think you might be a ghoul.
Oh, no. Ah.
That's bad news, especially since the Brotherhood doesn't make exceptions when it comes to killing mutants, and they're wasting no time sending knights to retrieve their target. Thaddeus gives the head back to Maximus and makes his escape, but Maximus swaps it out with a decoy head and sends Lucy to find her dad on her own, with a goodbye kiss, of course.
I'll wait for you, okay? In Vault 33. Find me.
I will.
Meanwhile, Cooper regains his bearings, kills a couple sheriffs, and learns that the mysterious Moldava is actually a woman he once met at an anti-Vault-Tec meeting before the Great War. He follows Thaddeus' trail, takes back the dog, and makes his way to the target. Maximus is taken to a Brotherhood-occupied Philly and immediately gets caught lying about the head, but he promises to lead them to it if his life is spared. His old friend Dane convinces Elder Quintus to take the deal. The old man is actually pretty impressed, so he immediately starts plotting a coup with him to restore the organization to its former glory.
A new brotherhood with me as its head and the likes of you as its sword.
Lucy arrives at Moldava's compound, the former Griffith Observatory and headquarters of what remains of the new California Republic. There, Moldava reveals the truth, that Hank McClane was a Vault-Tec employee born before the Great War, but he was cryogenically frozen before the bombs fell as part of a revolutionary assistant training program. Sure enough, Norm discovers that Vault 31 is nothing more than a cryogenic storage space that trickles people out over the years. That way, all of them can have the chance to lead a vault.
The future of humanity comes down to one word: management.
But that's not all. When Rose McClane realized that there might still be life on the surface, she escaped the vault with her kids and made her way to Shady Sands, where she started working with Moldava. So what's a concerned husband to do? Nuke an entire city, of course. Rose was turned into a feral ghoul during Hank's attack on the NCR capital.
I did what was necessary.
to save our people.
The mysterious device in Wilzig's head is cold fusion, a seemingly endless energy source Moldava helped invent that can only be turned on by a Vault-Tec employee. Thus, she kidnapped Hank in an attempt to rebuild the Wasteland in a way she deems fit. As he finally activates the device, the stage is set for a battle to determine the future of America. Life turns upside down in an instant for Lucy when she finds out that her dad is actually a bad guy, but she doesn't have much time to think. The Brotherhood arrives at the compound ready to take cold fusion for themselves, but they're met by Moldava's army rallying under the NCR banner. Maximus finds himself on the battlefield with a new opportunity for glory, but even the Knights of the Brotherhood of Steel are no match for the Ghoul. Exploiting a weakness in their power armor that he learned while wearing it as a soldier, he takes out an entire squadron of brothers with his signature swagger. Maximus arrives and frees Hank before Lucy has a chance to explain what she learned. Before they can stop him, he puts on a suit of power armor, knocks out Maximus, and reunites with his pre-war pal Cooper. The Ghoul, whose wife was a powerful Vault-Tec executive, has some unfinished business with him.
Where's my family?
Hank gets away, but Cooper isn't one to give up. He knows exactly where his nemesis is going, and he invites Lucy to tag along with him and learn some harsh truths along the way. She puts her ghoulified mom out of her misery, and they move along before any more Brotherhood members can find them. Maximus wakes up to see Moldava and the cold fusion device as electricity returns to the Wasteland. The rebel leader dies of her wounds, using her final words to ask Maximus to do his best to stop the Brotherhood from abusing the technology. That's when the Brotherhood makes it to the room, and when they see the Squire alone with their target and the corpse of their enemy's leader, he's hailed as a hero.
All hail Maximus, that shall be knight hereafter!
All hail Knight Maximus! All hail Knight Maximus!
The season ends with Hank coming across the skull of a Deathclaw and making his way to the ruins of the New Vegas Strip. Fallout Season 1 ends in a pretty satisfying way, but there are still a lot of hanging threads and unanswered questions going into Season 2. Take Norm, for example. Last time we saw him, he was grappling with the decision of whether or not to freeze himself after being sealed in Vault 31. He's not the only Vault dweller in danger, though. There's still the matter of Vault 33's broken water chip. Perhaps they'll find a new one in Vault City, a settlement from Fallout 2 known for its surplus of chips. There's also the question of Moldava. Yes, she's dead, but we still don't know how she managed to go from attending anti-Vault-Tec meetings in 2077 to kidnapping Hank in 2296. Another one who's poisoned the Raiders. And finally, will Lucy and Maximus find each other again in Vault 33 like they promised? In addition to tying up those loose ends, there's a lot to look forward to in Season 2. The first trailer alone teases a return of the Legion, another appearance from the mysterious snake oil salesman, and wasteland creatures ranging from radroaches to deathclaws.
I defer to you about what to do in this situation.
The first episode of Fallout Season 2 premieres on December 17th, but unlike Season 1, they'll have to wait a week for each subsequent episode to release until it ends in February. Like an NCR soldier patrolling the Mojave, we're looking forward to a nuclear winter.